I have all these candy wrappers left from Ephemera and some other packaging, and I want to use this to make some fun ephemera for my junk journal. Welcome to another Junk Journal Snacks episode. It's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. So I'm still not done with my Ephemera journal. And I'm so happy to see that a lot of you are not done either. And you are still sharing posts on Instagram and YouTube videos. So please keep on posting. Ephemera is not about being stressed to finish everything in December. If you don't know what Ephemera is, it's a December daily series that has nothing to do with Christmas. It's a collaboration with my dear friend Luisa, and you can find a playlist with all the information and links to freebies, etc. in the description box below. There is one page here with a pocket made by Luisa, which is this one, where she put in all of the scraps that I was able to use. And I really love the concept of this bag, and I don't think I've shown it closely when I flipped through this journal. So what Luisa did apparently, let's take this out, is she used this hinge mechanism from a glassine bag. But apparently she just used that hinge. So she didn't use the top or the bottom of the bag, and it makes such a cool bag. I love this idea so much. It's another genius Luisa idea, and I want to do something similar using some packaging I have, and I've already also picked out the page I want to do this on, which is this one here, which happens to be right next to our hidden bookmark with my dragonfly, which was also inspired by Luisa. And you can find this video linked below as well, where I made this hidden bookmark made out of a junk envelope and some wire. You know, I feel that I'm not ready to let this journal go, and I don't have to, because there is still plenty of space in here to do things. And I think I'm just going to continue working in it, because even though it is super bulky already, this journal is so inspiring to me, and I'm just drawn to it. Maybe I'll continue working in it throughout the whole year. Who knows? There's still a while until next December. So I have plenty of time. And another reason that I want to work in this, also for my junk journal snacks, in addition to the one I've been working in from Honey, is because this one here has more sturdy pages, while Honey's journal has a lot of very thin pages made out of packaging paper and baking paper. So I have the feeling I can't really put anything heavy, for example, like what I'm going to do today, on those pages. So it's good to have multiples. I just love this so much. This is from Luisa's printable. Oh, this makes me so happy to have this here. Now I lost my train of thought. Where did the train go? Yep, it's gone. I'm sorry, lost it. Who knows to what destination it's going to. Anyway, let's put this to the side. And let's look at what we have here. So we have a bunch of candy wrappers from the snacks that I tried in Ephemera. And I also have this one, which was not part of the snacks, but it was another snack that I was gifted by a sweet friend. My mouth is watering looking at this. I don't know if you know lokum. This is Turkish. It's just amazing. Unfortunately, there's not a photo of this here. I will find a photo and put that here so you can see what lokum tastes like. And typically, I think it's a treat you would have with black tea. Oh my gosh, my mouth is watering so much. And this is going to be the paper bag from which I'm going to use the hinge. I've kept this for a while and I've never used it, so perfect. So I can upcycle all these items, and it makes me so happy. So the first thing I want to do is to cover this here. You can do this project if you have a different kind of packaging as well. It doesn't even need to have a window for what I'm doing. But if you don't have any packaging and you want to do something similar, you can just take 2 pieces of cardstock or cardboard and then punch out a circular shape or a square or some random shape and then put some clear acetate in between, because that's all that is. You can see here, here's where the acetate sheet ends. It's just a sheet in between 2 pieces of cardboard. Here you can see how they're just glued together. Instead of gluing my wrappers straight onto this, because I have this window situation and I don't think I would be able to cut it out nicely, I'm going to cut myself a piece of regular copy paper in the shape of this. Then I'm going to cover it completely with the wrappers, and then I'm going to use a round die which is fairly close to the circle that I have on my packaging. If you don't have a die cut machine, obviously you can try to find a glass or something. By coincidence, this is perfect. And then just trace it and cut it out by hand. So there's always solutions. So I'm just going to trace this shape on my copy paper. Once I have that cut out, I'm going to take my die. And again, if you don't have this, you don't need the die. It just makes my life a little easier because I'm going to place it right over where the hole is, and I see through the light where that is. If you use the glass to trace your circle, then just place your glass there. And then we're going to trace that so that we know where the hole is. And once I have that, I'm going to turn it around and lightly trace it on the other side. Again, I see it through the light. You can hold it up next to a window, because I'm actually going to be placing my die on the back side, because since I'll be covering up the front side, I won't know where to place my circle. I thought I was just going to glue the wrapping around, just making sure that it overlaps my line here, but actually I am going to cover the whole thing, because of course when we cut out the circle we can use that for another embellishment, so we get 2 in 1. I am paying attention to the direction that I want to add this to my journal to. So in my case, my circle is going to be more towards the bottom, and I'm going to use this heavy gel medium, which is glossy, which I bought by accident. I wanted a matte one. But there are certain projects where I'm happy to have a glossy one, like here, because you see these candy wrappers, almost all of them are shiny, and I want to retain that shininess. Shininess, that's a word, right? No, that shine. I want to retain that shine. So I don't want to use a matte gel. I could, of course, also just use regular glue and not put anything on top. But I have the feeling it will look better if I have a nice smooth and even surface, which I think I will only get if I use some sort of medium on top. So now I'm simply going to cut these apart where needed and just glue them on here and have some fun. As usual, when I'm doing some sort of collage, I like to stick to rectangular pieces, but that's just me. I don't know what it is about just sticking things down. It's just fun and very satisfying, especially if you do it with recycled materials. It just gives you an all-around good feeling. By the way, some of you are writing in your comments concerning the snacks that from your particular country, for example, I didn't choose the best snacks. I mean, I know that there's a lot better snacks out there than I had, but I had a few hours to complete the task of finding as many snacks from as many different countries as possible. So I got what I could get. That does not mean that I wanted to portray your country in a bad light. Not at all. And I'm sorry for all of those countries that we didn't include. Again, the same reason. I didn't have a lot of time, and there's only a certain amount of snacks that I can easily find here in Vienna. I'm sure that there is no shortage of amazing snacks in each of your countries. I think that's the least worry we have. So now I want to make sure that everything is coated well with this. So once everything is nice and dry, we see it's still nice and shiny. I can go ahead and cut out any excess here. And while I was drying this, I was thinking, wouldn't it make much more sense to not glue this back on here because it adds so much bulk? Why not just keep this as inspiration and simply use this, because this is definitely sturdy enough for a pocket and it's so much thinner and won't bulk up my journal. Brilliant, Barbara, just brilliant. I'm sure you wouldn't have come up with that on yourself by yourself, right? I have my moments. Where needed, I will add some glue because in some places I apparently didn't glue it well enough. So making sure that all of my corners are stuck down. Actually, I think I'm going to sew around it, so it wouldn't really matter. But if you're not going to sew around it, then obviously make sure your corners are stuck well. And since I'm not going to place it on top of this, I can make the hole wherever I want. And I can make it whatever size I want. But I did actually like this size, so I'm going to stick with this one. And I'll make it right in the middle here. By the way, I received a comment on one of my recent videos from a viewer asking me to post a video about the different kinds of die cutting machines and what I would recommend for a beginner. But honestly, I bought this Sizzix fold away die cutting machine when I was a beginner. So what, 4 or 5 years ago? And this is the only one I've ever had. So I have no comparison. It has not broken. It works just fine. I'm happy with it. But again, I have no comparison. Maybe there are better solutions out there. I'm sure there are. There are, of course, these automatic ones where you don't have to manually crank it through. So I think that would really make sense if you're going to use it a lot. But for my needs, the manual one is totally fine. Wow, this is stuck really well. So I can use this on something else. That's really fun. And I have my fun pocket shape here. So next I want to cut out a piece of acetate or something like that to cover the hole. And I also have this packaging, which is nice and sturdy. So I'll try to do it from there. And in my case, I can just use the next bigger circle. I think that's this one. Oh, it doesn't quite fit. Yeah, that's going to be fine. So I'll use this, I'll just cut off the sides and then run that through my machine again. Again, if you don't have a die cut machine, just use a bigger glass or bowl or something. So when I put this under my die cut machine, the first time I had it go through, it did not cut through the plastic. It only made an indent. So then I added 2 pieces of paper and I rolled it through again and then it cut it. So maybe that's an idea if you have a similar issue. And if you're not going to sew, then you could just glue around the edge now. But since I'm going to sew, I'm simply going to put washi tape here so that it stays in place while I sew. I should probably not do this. So I can sew right over the washi, which is fine because it's our back side. So now we have this. So I went around it 3 times with a messy stitch. And when we look at Louisa's pocket, she of course went one step further because it's Louisa. You see, she also added some cheesecloth from underneath going out onto the front side. Really cool and grungy. So next we need to adhere these fold-out things. So I'm going to start off by marking the height of my pocket and cut that. And as we can see, this paper bag is wider than my pocket, but I do want to keep this part down here to keep the folding sides together. So first I'm going to mark the width of my pocket. And since my folds are so deep, if I would just cut it here, I would cut right through the fold. Oh, I can't even fold it out. I thought I could just fold it out and cut it. So I think what I have to do in my case is cut both of these off and then mount them again closer inwards. And I also want to get rid of this middle here because I don't want the brown showing through. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen here. So I'm trying to feel where is the end of the fold. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work because I don't have that much space here. You see, my fold would go up until here, so I would see that in any case. That's not good. I think I'm going to have to like reconstruct the whole thing. So I'm cutting this off. See, I want this mechanism. I want it closed here on the bottom. And then I want this going out like this. If I just folded this. Oh, I could do that. I'm trying to prevent just reconstructing the whole thing from scratch. So if I just fold this in and glue that down, I can still open it like this and cut away these big flaps. I think that should work. So I'll cut this more narrow. Oh no, I can already feel I'm cutting more than I should. Yeah. Look at that. I've cut this away now too. Is that a good thing? At this point, you're probably thinking, Barbara, just make it from scratch. I am determined to make this work. Maybe I could just put some tape over this middle piece and then it will still open. The lengths we go to recycle something. Okay, I still have my mechanism, so that's okay. And this one, of course, I have the same issue with on the left side because the fold goes all the way until here. So again, I will cut this. I don't know if this project is still making any sense. I forgot, I need to cut it down to the width that I need it to be, right? So again, I will tape these middle two together. So many of you wrote me comments on my 50K celebration video saying that you love it when I show my mistakes. So here you go, front row seats once again. So I have these two side parts that will go here and here. And I still want the bottom though, which is now, of course, well, I could just tape that together. Well, first I need to cut this shorter. All I really need is any kind of folded paper, but I would like to stay with the same color because we'll see that a little bit. So, and now, by coincidence, it has the width that I need here. So again, I'm going to tape those together and oh no, I still see some of it here. What? No, it's too wide still. I guess the solution would have been to have a circle that's not as wide here. Actually, the solution is quite simple. I can just move these parts further out so that they're not showing in the circle. And that way we have these two edges, which is totally fine. And instead of this one, which is too short, I can just use another piece of that paper bag so that I have the same color and fold that up. And I'll just glue it on these two parts right here. Easy. Actually, I'll just tape it. And I'll tape it on the back side as well. Let's double check. This is good. I actually like how the edges are showing. Now let's just check if it will actually still fit on my journal page. Yeah, it will just fit perfect. Okay, so I can go ahead and sew this. No, I can't sew this on because if I sew this on, then I will again lose my mechanism. Okay, since I want the illusion of it being sewn on, I will first take this to my sewing machine and sew around the edges, and then I will glue it on. So once I have sewn around that, I can now glue this onto my paper bag. So let's glue it on our page. I'm just going to put this roll underneath so I have a flat surface to work on. So now I can just put glue here. And I realized I haven't put my prompt list into this journal yet, so I definitely need to do that. And I think this could be a good place to put it in. By the way, I love how Luisa's paper is peeking through here. And look what a cool roomy pocket this is. I love it. Once again, a brilliant idea from Luisa. So I'm just going to fold this in half. And if this is the first time that you see this prompt list and are intrigued to try out some of the prompts, you can find that list under every video of the Ephemera Ember playlist, which, as I mentioned, is below this video. So let's put this in here. Perfect fit. So recycle your treat wrappers. Look what fun ephemera you can make with those for your junk journal. Have fun with this. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah.
I don't wanna fight no more, cause I don't feel the need no more, no. Just wanna make it stop. Maybe it's something in the water, or maybe we just hit the end of the road.